Then over here. Got to do this in a certain sequence or else everything crashes. Come on now. Come on now. Come on, Instagram. Here we go. All right. We are live in all the places. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We are getting ready to record the show for Monday with Eric. Eric, I forget, where are you from?
I am from Connecticut.
That's right. Up in CT. How's the weather? It's raining up that way, isn't it?
No, it's gorgeous out today. Absolutely gorgeous. It normally has been raining. It's been raining a lot, but today was like 60 and sunny out. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome here today. It's like 80 something and sunny. It's nice. Problem is, like, it's cold in the house and then I go outside and it's hot.
Yeah, we had an 80-degree day 2 days ago and it really almost 80. It was like 78, 79, and we were not ready for it because it does not get this warm up here until at least the end of the month.
See, it's such a tease for me because I drive a Jeep Wrangler, right? And I want to take the top off and the doors off. I got to wait till Memorial Day. Like, that's my rule. Like, if I do it before Memorial Day, I'll get burned, and it's a pain in the rear if you pull them off. So, but everybody around here, you know, because everybody's younger than me, right? All the 20-year-olds already have their tops down and their doors off and all that. And I'm like, God, it looks so fun. But I'm lazy. I don't have to fight that because those suckers are so heavy. Those doors, like 80 pounds. I can't do that anymore. I'm not young. Anyway,
our cruise was in February, so it was a little chilly in some places on the water up there. But I'll tell you about that when we get to talking.
Why you cruise in July? Everything feels good. And well, I mean, you know, you're a teacher, right? It's the only time I can cruise, so kind of cuts down everything else too. For now, she's retiring next year, so then we can cruise whenever, and we'll be able to cruise for cheaper, which I'm excited about.
Very nice.
Finally. Whole life, everything's been expensive when it came to travel. Okay, so let me get this set. All right, I think we are good.
Okay.
I'll try to close all the tabs of everything that beeps and bops. All right, let's see. I'll close Facebook. All right, here we go. 2482 for Monday, the day after Cinco de Mayo. Oh, let me put my phone on. Do not disturb. There we go. All right, 2482. 441, and here we go. Welcome to episode 2482 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and a fun Cinco de Mayo yesterday, but now you got to pay the piper. You got to go back to work. No more chips and guac. No more margaritas. It's just, if you're lucky, a Coke Zero and a turkey sandwich for lunch. That's my reality today.
Maybe you can get one of those Mexican Cokes that that they sell in some places.
I'm basic. Once it's the work week, it's always the same. You know what? Over the last few months, I've really splurged. I've gone to cherry Coke Zero. I'm getting wild here in the studios.
Wow, that might be too much flavor for you. I don't know.
A little wild. I'll tell you what, though, it's kind of hard to find. Like, when Target has it, you got to mobile order it, and then I send Mallory, because that's why we got her a car, right? I'm like, hey, you got to pick up my mobile order. So if a Target,
your personal DoorDash driver.
Exactly right. That's why you have kids. Anyway, joining us today, we're gonna have a good time. We're talking Disney cruise, because if you have been following me on the social media or over in the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord, you know that I can't stop thinking about the cruise that we're going on the Fantasy this summer. I can't stop talking about it. So we're talking Disney Cruise Line today with our good friend Eric. If you join us on the call-in shows on Sunday nights, you've heard him. Eric, out in Connecticut, what's going on?
Hey, I'm doing all right here. Can't wait to tell you all about the cruise. It was my first ever cruise on anything, because my girlfriend has told me that if you're going to date me, you are going to be cruising. So, and she is a Disney cruise person. So she brought me on my first ever cruise this February. That could be
like a pop song, I think. Like, if you're gonna date me, you have to go on a cruise. Like, that could be like the next pop hit or country song, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that is not the worst thing that someone could say. If you're going to date me, we're going to have to go on cruises. Oh, no.
I'm serious. I mean, it's
Terrible.
some people that could be a problem. I don't see that as a problem. I see that as a positive. But yeah, so and we got to say, I appreciate you because you are uh, playing through pain today. You got a little cold. You're fighting through.
Oh,
You're
it's not a
looking
little cold. I got a fever of like 101 right now.
exact. Well, I mean,
I am pushing through right now.
that's right. I mean, you've got sub plans to make because you work in education. We're in the
Hmm.
month of May. I mean, this is where shout out again to all my educators because this is the point where you just hold on and just hang on for dear life to the finish line. I
Yep.
mean, it's it. You just survive in advance every single day. So hang in there.
I
Summer's
call
almost
it field trip season. Everyone tries to put the field trips that are in about now.
dude. They still do field trips. My wife's school field trip stopped like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wish. But anyway, so let's talk about your background first before we get into the cruise, your Disney fandom and kind of address that. Where does your fandom start with the Disney product, the movies, the
It
park, all
it
that stuff?
starts with going down as a child, going down, and my grandfather living in Orange County, Florida. So we would go down, we would stay in Orange County, Florida, and we would go to see the parks. And then when mom fell in love, and then when he moved to Tampa, we would still go down, and that's when we first stayed on property. Eventually, he moved to North Carolina, and I guess the thinking was, well, it's halfway to Florida anyway, so we might as well go the rest of the distance and head down there. So just about every other year between the time when I was 3 and the time when I was about 15, we were down in Orlando. The
Nice.
other times we would be at like Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach or something like that.
So what do you remember from those early years that maybe like those core memories that kind of stick with you? Is there something you wish you could go back to that's not there anymore?
World of Motion.
I see. I wish I could have done that. I mean, as much
Um,
as I do like Test Track, I like the first version of Test Track better. But I mean, I'd have loved. I think I'd have loved World of Motion even because I'm a swanky. I'm an old
yeah,
dude now. I like People Mover.
I'm not a I'm not a Horizons person, bring back Horizons person, but that moment when you would get in the car in World of Motion and you would kind of go outside and around the post and then back inside to the building. I remember just standing out there and looking out over everything. I also have like these really great memories of well, it's not going to sound like a great memory, but I was afraid of the characters, and my twin brother was not. So I would be hiding behind my mother's leg, and my brother actually one time ran backstage after Pluto, and mom was standing there at the door, like, "Oh my gosh, where'd he go?" And like 3 cast members came out and said, "We found this young man running towards Pluto."
I bet that happens more than you think, though. I mean, kids don't know the
Probably.
boundaries. They don't know that that fence or that gate means anything. Hey,
Mhm.
they just want to go see their favorite dog. Let's go play. Yeah, that's
So, more recently, I've been going again since about 2000, usually with the same group of people. My brother's one of them now, and Donna, who is now my girlfriend. We've known each other for about 30 years, but one of those things that just never lined up for it. But without getting into all the details, I used to refer to her when I would call it as my BDFF, my best Disney friend forever, and now she is now we're dating.
that's cool.
So as I was saying earlier, she said, I cruise, I love cruising, I could cruise anywhere. You're gonna have to cruise. So she decided that we would go on a cruise in February because it was our February break, and she was able to get some good prices. So we hopped on the Disney Dream for a very, very short 4-day cruise. But getting there was very difficult for me because we have not had much snow up here the past 2 years. The day I was supposed to go down to take the train to go to see her in Philadelphia, that's where she lives, we had a blizzard.
That's how it always happens,
We
man.
we
It's
we
I
had
feel you.
and I remember saying to her, like, "I don't know if going in February, because like, we could get snow,
Mhm.
and I'll be stuck here." And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. What's the worst that can happen?" Well, we got a blizzard.
Oh, you never say
So,
that out loud. You never I'm so superstitious
yeah.
with this, especially with travel and sports. You'd never say that out loud.
Luckily, I got an Amtrak ticket that you could change the dates, so I went down there, like, a day early, and we were able to fly in and stay overnight in, Homewood Suites near the,
In Port Canaveral
port.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which was a pretty solid place. It was not too far, not that expensive. It was a good place to stay.
nice. So let me ask you though, like in the because you said because I kind of want to set the scene for folks
Hmm.
here. You're a theme park guy. You
Yes.
never cruised.
Mm-mm.
Weren't sure that this was going to be your thing here, and your girlfriend wanted to do this.
Yep.
So in the pre trip days leading up to it, how did you research? How did you get yourself prepared for a Disney cruise? I mean, did you do research? Or did you kind of go in cold turkey?
I I
What'd you do?
kind of went cold turkey. I think part of the fun for her was introducing me to everything aboard the ship. And because of that, I decided that I'm not going to know a lot about it. I looked up the floor plans to see where our room was and to see what was there, and after that, I was just kind of like, nope, I'm just gonna let it surprise me. I'm just gonna see what happens and be delighted, hopefully, by what's there. And the room we stayed in was room and I found out when I was looking this up online, was room 9101. And apparently there's something unique about that room on the Dream. It is the only room that has no other rooms touching it.
Huh.
It's an interior cabin. It is not a rectangle, it is a square.
Huh.
And it is right it's the way the ship is, for those of you who don't know, there's long corridors and then there's a few cut throughs, and
Yep.
there's some rooms in the cut throughs. In this cut through, it was just this room. It was next to like a cast entrance area and stuff like that, but it was very quiet. And it was the same size, but it was just a different layout. So I like peeked in the room, another room, and the room was long and they had like a seating area and then the bed. This one was the bed in the middle of the room with a seating area kind of like off in the corner. It was different than all of the other rooms on the ship, and apparently some people love it, some people hate it, but it's unique on the entire ship.
I just jotted down the number because I'm looking this up after the show because
I'm
I
gonna
thought
double check to see if I have the right number.
I'll look it. I'll figure
I
it out.
don't want to have the wrong number, but
We'll
if you
figure
go
it
to
out.
floor 9 and you look for the oh, where is it? And you look for the one room that is off by itself, you'll see this room sitting there. I kind of liked the shape of it. I thought it was nice. I haven't stayed in any of the other rooms, but
Yeah,
it was a good room.
we'll figure it. Yeah, I've been in those. I've been in those inside cabins, and I will say, we'll get. Well, let me hold off on that for a second. So I'm going to ask you about your what you thought of the stateroom itself for the duration of the cruise. But let me jump back here and talk about embarkation and arrival at Port Canaveral. So as a Disney fan, you get there. Because first timer, this is the only time you really get to ask this question. I mean, what were your thoughts when you pull up to Port Canaveral and you get to see the terminal and I mean, you see the ship behind it? Because to me, I get goosebumps and I've been on over 20 cruises. I still get, when I go in July, I'll get goosebumps. But did you get that feeling? I mean, because maybe only some of us do get that. I mean, the size of the ship, the color,
Um,
how it looks.
I gotta say it was cool seeing the ship, but the scene before you go to the Disney part of the terminal was chaos. They did not have it set up very well, and I think these were not Disney workers. These were people who worked for the port.
Mhm.
And I called the way they told you the way they told you where to go, it's like just people standing there and yelling, "People at this time go this way. People at this time go that way. People at this time go over there." And that was a lot. Once you get in line and turn the corner and you enter the Disney area of it was really beautiful.
Mhm.
Like they did a great job from you entered the second you entered the port, is that the right word?
The terminal building
The
there. Yeah.
terminal, thank you. I don't know cruise
It's all right.
terminology.
I don't need. It's just what I call it. The fancy, nice building there.
Yep, when you enter the terminal building to the time you entered the ship. And I did like when they announced your name and everybody claps.
That's cool.
Yeah, you got to play that up. You got to bow a little bit and just wave your hands around to everybody who's staring at you like you're an idiot. We walked around when we got on. She took me to the places that like we wouldn't be able to go, like the kids clubs,
Yep.
which were very nice.
Tell me, at least you got to fly the Millennium Falcon real quick. I mean, I always get a
I did sit down at that spot,
Gotcha.
but Jesse was there meeting people,
Ah,
so we also had to stand there with Jesse. I got to see the rainforest room in the spa,
yes, very
which
nice.
pardon me, sorry.
Okay.
If I am ever on a longer cruise, I am definitely going there. They have these heated seats and this like beautiful showers, and nothing that I can do will describe how nice it was. They had the heated seats on, and we sat down and laid down on those heated loungers, and we just didn't want to get up. Eventually, we had to because once the ship leaves port, they close this all down. The kids club is just for kids. Adults really don't go in it. The spa area is for people who book the spa, but that's definitely it looked so worthwhile. Even though I'm sure it's expensive, it looked so worthwhile.
Yeah, I've bought the spa pass a couple times. That's something I very rarely do, but I have on a couple cruises, and it is a definite splurge. And you nailed the thing that I like the most. The heated loungers are the
Mhm.
bomb, and there's some showers in there that have different aromas. Like
Yeah.
I don't need that, but I mean, I thought, well, I paid for it, and I'm going to
No,
be
you don't
fancy,
need
right?
it, but
No,
you
no,
want
you
it.
don't need any of that stuff. But those heated loungers, they're
I think
incredible.
like if I go on a longer cruise, like a 7 or 10 day cruise, that would be really worthwhile if there's like more than one day at sea or something.
Well, I bought it for my wife, and so I thought, well, I got to keep her company. And then when I thought about it, she probably would have enjoyed it much more if I'd have just bought it for her, And then the value in that would have been 7 days of getting away from me in a heated lounger. But I probably, diminished the value of the pass by buying myself one when I looked back on it. But that was whatever. I got to enjoy it anyway. So you get on the ship, they call your name, you're on there, you go through the lobby there of the Dream, which to me, the Dream and the Fantasy are my favorite like layouts.
It's a beautiful lobby.
It is.
It's not what I like about it is I've seen on ads and stuff or seen pictures of people who go on cruises and there are these overwhelming lobbies. Like they are massive and just like there's so much there. This is to me it was like a perfect size. It's maybe about 3 floors. It's got
Mhm.
this gorgeous chandelier. They got space where all the characters meet around it and the central staircase. I thought it was stunning.
So now, did you guys once you kind of went around to see, and that's a great strategy. I mean, your girlfriend nailed it. You're going to have limited time to see the kids clubs because they're going to
Hmm.
shut down. They have their open house. You can go up to the spa and get it. They have their open house. Actually, if you're going to book it, you can get some good deals. They have little deals there, before sail away.
They
And
were
the
selling
passes.
some pre-sale
Yep.
packages. Yep.
Yep. So just so folks know that are listening in, that's the time to maybe get a deal. It's still expensive, but a little bit cheaper. And they sell out of the passes. So if you're gonna get one, jump in. But that's also the time maybe to grab lunch if you're hungry up at Cabanas or maybe sit down at
So
one of the sit down restaurants. What do you guys do for that first meal?
she brought me to Cabanas. She was very excited, and I have to say, my first meal at Cabanas, and I will become impressed later, but my first meal at Cabanas, I was like, "Oh man, if this is what I'm eating, I'm not going to be happy on the
Well,
trip
the
because
embarkation day is a nut house up at Cabanas. It's
it was
wild
it
because everybody's
was
there.
busy.
Yes.
It was like I did not like the pieces of food that I picked up. Like I had picked up a piece of jerk pork that was like about half a quarter of an inch thick and tasted like a hockey puck. So don't have the jerk pork. And Donna was saying, Eric, you should be going to the taco station. You should be going to this over here. These are better than that. But I was stubborn. um, I'll say about it. For some reason, a lot of people were inside cabanas, and there's an exterior part of cabanas
Mhm.
too in the back, and nobody was outside all the time that we were there. There was nobody on the outside section of cabanas, and for me, that was like the most beautiful part of the entire ship at times. You're out on the water. You're like seeing all the islands around you as you're
Yeah,
going past it. You have the sea breeze and the fresh air. It was gorgeous out there.
I
It,
agree. Well, especially when you're in port, because when you're at sea, it's super windy. It's almost intolerable to try to sit and eat. It's great when you're just sitting in a lounger, but you can't like you can't have food on your plate and try to eat when you're moving at sea. It's too windy. But yeah, when you're sitting at port and trying to have breakfast or something
yeah.
and the ship's not moving, oh man. Especially if you're from like Connecticut in
hmm
February or like St. Louis, like good lord, it's some more. It's the
It
first time
was
we've
like
had warm sun in months.
78 degrees and sunny
Yeah,
and
totally.
oh, beautiful. Um, we ate and then we saw the disembarkation
The
thing
show.
with Mickey. That was cute. I don't know if I'd see it again. If you're doing it for the first time, I would say go for it. But I don't know if I would do that again. There's so many other things on the cruise. Um, like we went down, we saw that, and then we went down to the adults only area,
Mhm.
which I learned to absolutely love. They
Dude.
have my favorite part of that area that we stopped in was I think it was called Bubbles. It was a champagne bar that was done in this very mod 1960s style. Everything was curved, and they had a violinist some nights and a pianist the other nights. That was probably my favorite part of the adults only area on the entire ship, and I found myself there quite a bit.
It's either called, I'm trying to think, because the sister ships have the same venues, different names. It's either called Ooh La La or it's called Pink. It's one of those
Pink, it was
two.
pink.
Okay, because it's
Thank
Ooh
you.
La La on the fantasy then. Okay, good. Because I always because you got Skyline, which is the
Yep,
same on
which
both.
is Suburban
Skyline's
Bar.
on Pink. Yep, Skyline's on both. And then you got the Tube is on the fantasy, which is like the big where they have the comedy acts and
hmm
the game shows. It's the bigger like venue at the bar where they host the shows, like the Match Your Mate and stuff like that. I forget what that venue's called on the Dream. Holy cow, just slipped my mind. The big one. But yeah, the whole that adult area down there is so much fun. Like you got 687 on the Dream, the kind of the sports
hmm
bar, and on the fantasy it's called O'Gill's. It's an Irish bar. But so you like that? I agree. So did you find that you spend a lot of time back there in the adult area? Because at night, did you kind of make that a habit to like maybe
At
have some
night,
games
we
around
made
there?
it a habit to go there. We did some of the dancing. We did some of the shows. We did some of the trivia. We won one of the trivia,
Nice.
which was cool.
Which okay, what's your expertise?
It was Muppets trivia.
Nice. So you're very specific. Mana mana.
Yeah, they do 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 do. Um, well, I realized I knew all this because about 20 years ago there was a traveling Muppets exhibit. And I remember, and I got there and I go, "Oh my gosh, why do I know all this stuff?" And then all of these memories of doing this traveling Muppets exhibit at the Mercer Museum came back, and like all of the questions there were covered in that exhibit, and like all of these memories of this came flooding back. There was a group that literally did every single trivia, and they won just about every single trivia. They were walking around with like 12 different winner badges on, and we beat them at this one thing. And
Sorry, but it makes me happy to beat those people.
yeah, um, they called us Muppets. They called us the Muppets. And like, boy, guys, there's like this big ship. I know trivia is your thing, but boy, that's a lot of time on the trivia. Um,
I do play a lot of the trivia too, but I don't usually win because, like, I don't know. Like, I'm decent at 80s. I don't
mhm,
watch movies. I don't watch enough TV. Like, I don't have a chance really at anything but maybe 80s music because I was a DJ, right? So
mhm.
I have a shot at that. But like, I don't have. Other than that, like, I go to just have fun. I'll go because you're 7 nights on cruise.
Oh,
What are you gonna do? But yeah,
yeah, Donna goes to learn new things. I go to prove my superiority. Um, and it was nice to be
I
able
wish.
to do that. Also, here's a tip. The same day we walked by one of the lounges was having a DVC meeting, and it's really just a sales pitch.
Yeah, it's
It's
dangerous
a sales
because
pitch,
it's fishing. They
right?
try to lure you in with that onboard credit
But
product there. But man, I almost signed up for DVC twice one time.
well, she is a DVC member,
That
and like
works.
they were trying to say, well, you can buy more points,
Yes,
but
exactly. Yeah.
also if you go to the DVC booth
Yep.
in the lobby, they will hand out different things
Yeah, cats
every
and
day.
stuff. Yeah.
Like I got a cinch bag, I got a lip balm, which was well appreciated, and there was one other thing I can't remember what that was. Um,
I got
but
like a portfolio, a cool looking like portfolio I used for like 2 years with
oh
my
yeah,
classes.
yep, it was a
What it was
luggage
like.
tag. It was a very nice luggage tag. Was one of them too. So if you are DVC, make sure you stop by the booth and get your free stuff. One of them was a Steamboat Willie lithograph. So it's just
I was yeah, they're good. I'm telling you what, man, they are good because it was in the when I went, it was in the D lounge, which they have on both ships.
mhm.
And man, I think I was with Scott, and Scott's
You
DVD.
frozen up.
Yes.
Like you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You completely froze up for a
Sorry
second
about
there.
that. No, but I was in there with Scott, and he's DVC, so he's in there. They're just showering him with stuff, and they're trying to get me because like I'm fresh meat, right? They're like, "Oh
Mhm.
man, you're telling me all the reasons." I'm like, "I don't need it, man. I work and travel. I get discounts. I'm good. I got kids. I got to send to college." Man, I was just close. Scott's like, "Hang tough, man. Hang tough." Like, you know, give me a huge onboard
They were
credit.
very good at what they did.
I'm like, I need the onboard credit, but I can't, man. I was so close. So I'm telling you what, man, if you go through those doors, you better be ready. I mean, it's not a hard sell, but they come at you a little.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
But anyway, so let's talk entertainment though. Besides the adulterers, did you go see any of the big shows, the feature
we
shows?
saw all 3 of the shows. And I've always said Disney does really 2 types of shows. They do retellings and they do reviews. The retelling, they do like this is the story of Beauty and the Beast. This is the story of the Little Mermaid, and the review is where they take a whole bunch of different Disney songs and they string them together with a plot. The first one that they did was called the Golden Mickeys,
Hmm.
and that was okay. It was
My wife loves that show because she's disappointed that it's not on our cruise this summer. She's like, "Are they doing the Golden Mickeys?" I was like, "No, they're not. They're doing Frozen and Aladdin." She's like, "Oh,
oh
I
okay.
know."
I thought the Golden Mickeys were fine for what it was. Here's the award for best woman, Corella Deville. Corella Deville comes out, she sings her song. Here's the award for this, and then the seven dwarfs come out. But the cute thing was they got a bunch of kids to dress up as the seven dwarfs. They
Mhm.
got some kids from the audience. They put some hats and beards on them and paraded them around the stage. The Golden Mickeys were nice. The retelling of Beauty and the Beast was spectacular. It was Broadway level show. They got the entire story in there in an hour. The effects were great, but even better was the third night show, Believe.
Yeah, see, we got that on our cruise coming up. I like that show too. I mean, it's dad-daughter show, so I'm
Yeah.
in.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I appreciate that, but it was a father does not believe in magic, et cetera, and the genie comes and tries to get him to believe in magic and pay more attention to his daughter. And it sounds so cheesy the way I'm saying it right now, but it's really not. It is really heartfelt and sincere, and they integrate the characters and the songs so well into the story. Um, it was excellent. I would say if you have if you are on the ship, don't miss don't misbelieve.
So they usually do that as the last. I know it's the last night of our cruise. Was the last night for yours too? I think it is kind of usually the feature
Hmm.
show. Is it last night for you guys too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear my cat meowing very loudly in the
No,
background?
no, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
So, let me ask you too about. So let's jump into dining. So let's. What was your favorite restaurant out of the rotational restaurants?
That's a tough one. I really like them all. I especially liked the Artist's Palette, I think it was called.
Mhm. Animator's
Uh,
palette.
Animator's
Mhm.
Palette, yeah. And it was excellent. And I want to give a shout out to our beverage person, Kennedy, who we saw not only at every meal. I saw him at Cabanas each time when I went up to Cabanas. He was working at Cabanas. At When we got off the boat at Castaway Key, he was serving at Castaway Key, and he remembered us. He remembered what we liked. He remembered everything about us, and I was incredibly impressed by him.
That is awesome. That and you know what? So you've been on one cruise. I've been on a bunch, and that is what the servers do at Disney Cruise
Yeah.
Line. I've had that on every single sailing. I mean, they are so good, the dining team, that the first night you sit down and I'll order a Coke Zero, and then the rest of the sailing, Coke Zero sitting there for me. Day two, day three, day
Yep.
four. Don't have to think about it. And like you said, because they do work, they don't just work in the main restaurants. They will serve at cabanas, they will serve on the island, and they'll hit you up there. And it's so funny because they'll look, you'll see them at cabana, or at cookies too, serving up
Hmm.
ribs and
Right.
hamburgers. And they won't be in their fancy tuxedos. So it'll kind of catch you off guard, but they'll be like, hey Mike, 4 days later, what's up? And they'll be like, you
So
need a Coke Zero? Because I just down them like crazy. So yeah, it's
So so
so
so
fun.
Donna liked the cheese soup that they had at I think it was Artist Point, and they found out that she liked the cheese soup, and the cheese soup was at each meal.
Yep,
They
that's
they
how
got
it
the
is.
cheese, and then at the one that had the cheese soup, they got her two
Yep.
cheese soups. It was really great. But one of the things he told me, and this is something to keep in mind, we basically closed out the restaurants each night. We were the late sitting, and he said that family people without kids are he didn't want to say served last, but he said if you come without a kid, our job is to get the families with the kids seated and get the food out to them so that they like don't get cranky and keep that moving. So if you are there with just adults, it can be a little bit slower to get your food.
Yep. Makes sense.
Because
Yep.
we were sitting there like, man, this place is closing like down, and like our dessert just showed up, and he was apologetic about that. We didn't mind. We had some very nice people at our table with us from Kentucky, but he said you have to understand that they tell us to serve the families with the kids first, so they can go on and do other things and go to bed, and the adults usually are fine. So just a little thing to note next time you're on the cruise.
No, that because I try to get most of the families on main dining if they can for that
Yeah,
reason. But yeah, if they can't, that's exactly what they do. And there's an option where the kids can go to the club and
right.
grab them there too. So let me ask you this though, because I want to make sure we get all this in. Did you guys do anything like they call it when you're booking your kind of stuff pre-cruise, like onboard fun? Did you do anything like tastings, or did you go on the art of the ship
No,
tour or anything
because
like that?
it was like the first cruise, and it was only for 4 days. We had like one day at sea
Mhm.
where we explored the ship, and it was February. I felt bad, well, kind of bad, that the adults only section for the decks. There's one in the back that's clubs, and there's one up front that's like a seating area and lounge chairs
Mhm.
sitting on a deck with a small pool. Um, we went up to the bow,
Mhm.
the front of the boat, and I don't mind it being a little bit chilly. There was a breeze there, and there were these there was this area in front where you are open to the elements, and then there was this area slightly behind the glass. And I sat there and I looked at her and I go, "Oh, this is fantastic. Let's just stay here." And she goes, "Well, okay." And I closed my eyes for a little bit. I open my eyes, I turn around, and she has four towels covering herself up from the neck all the way down to the feet. She is like wrapped up. And I'm like, are you cold? She goes, no, 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 it's fine. I want you to have fun on the cruise. It's okay. I'm like, well, not at you shivering over here. Uh, it was February after all, and even though the boat is cruising along at 8 miles per hour, there's wind on the sea. So we did find those huge round lounge chairs
Yes.
that are on the inside, and we spent a lot of time in those two lounge chairs, and I spent a lot of time at the little coffee shop that
Yeah,
was there too.
Coke Cafe down there is a rocking place, even right outside Coke Cafe because it is blocked from the wind and the
Mhm.
elements, but you're still in the adults only area up there. So that's a when the weather's not perfect, you can still stay away from the kids and have fun up
It
there.
was
That's
it was it was very, very quiet.
yeah,
We also tried the aqueduct, and
nice.
that was awesome. It was also way too cold. So like we did it, and then we went, okay, that's it. Let's go get some dry clothes on, and enough of that.
Well, the first ride isn't bad, right? When you're not
Mhm.
wet. Like the standing in line when you're dry, totally fine. It's the second ride after you've ridden it once and you're waiting and it's super windy and you're like, okay, let me get in the water
Mhm.
again because I'm freezing. Yeah,
and and
totally.
and kids were like going on it and then running up and getting back in line, and like I would have done that too if it wasn't so chilly out in February.
I can't wait to get on the duck again. I do like the aqueduct. That's gonna be fun. Not too long. Okay, so let me a couple of things I want to get to. We talked so Castaway Key. You got to go to Disney's private island because of the
Hmm.
Bahamian cruise. What were your overall thoughts and how'd you spend the day there?
Oh, it was spectacular. We walked off the ship. We did a few character meet and greets. They had Captain Jack Sparrow. They had Minnie and Mickey together, which is a rare sighting. And then we hopped on the tram to the adults only section,
Nice.
and I counted. This is like a quarter-mile beach, maybe a little longer. I counted maybe 60 people there.
Oh my, I might actually get to go to Serenity Bay. That's the name of it. This cruise
Uh-huh.
because we have my 16-year-old. We added my niece 2 days ago, so she's going with her niece and Paige, her older sister. So maybe my wife and Al, for the first time in our lives, get to steal away to the adults only beach for a couple
You
hours.
haven't been there?
Never. It's a.
Oh,
I don't even know if it exists. No, I
we
know it
we
does because I run past it when I do the 5K.
we found a chair. We sat in the chair, and I had a book with me, and I
Oh,
had like some music, but I didn't read anything. I didn't listen to any music. I sat there and I just listened to the waves.
that's what I want to do right there.
And,
It is.
and there was nobody.
Oh,
We walked over to get some food, and we saw Kennedy, said hi, and then we walked back, and um I think everyone's with their families, and they're biking around the bike path, and they're doing their snorkeling. It was the most relaxing place I've ever been.
yeah, we've ridden our bikes all the way out there as a
Mhm.
family. Like, 'cause there's a bike path that takes you out kind of near
Right.
there to the end of the island, and we've taken pictures and stuff out there. And I mean, they have all because they have their own buffet out there for
Yep.
lunch, but they have steak. I
Yes.
mean, not that I need a steak for lunch for the love of God, you don't need a steak for lunch, but I mean, you can, and I will. Why not?
You're on vacation. You have the steak for lunch.
I don't need it, but why not?
You eat all the ice cream. It
Oh,
was
that's not a problem.
it was the um it was so relaxing, even though it got a little more crowded later in the day. If you go like a little further down the beach, like the area where it lets off, people kind of camp there. And if you go further down the beach, there's less and less people. We went out by one person who was doing like some TikTok dances in the shore, and we did see one group of people walk. Like there's this very clear line of where you're not supposed to go, and they walked over the line and just kept walking. And I saw
And
the
this wasn't the TikToker, because I have a
no,
feeling TikTokers and people that walk over the line, probably that Venn diagram is probably a
it's
circle.
probably not that different. But like I the guy who was a few things down from me was with them, and I hear him go, "What are they doing? Are we gonna get kicked out?
We're
Are
just
are
gonna
are
leave you
they
behind.
going? Where are they going?" And then he went to the lifeguard and said, "Excuse me, my family has just walked way over there. Should I go get them?" And they got a person in a little skidoo to go out there and tell them that they had to come back or they would be asked to leave,
Oh
because
my
a lot of the island is also a nature reserve
yeah, yeah.
for for
Y
for seafaring birds
yeah,
and things.
yeah.
So the island itself was really nice. We took the tram back and we spent some time looking at the stuff there is to do around there. We went into a few shops, looked at some pins. I really liked their floating little water slides.
Yep. Those things are the one's fast, and you gotta be
Yeah,
able to swim too. You can't just
yeah.
it's not like
You
it
got to swim
won't
out there. You got
just
to
do
swim
it.
back.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
but people don't know that.
we stood out on this point and looked over the area that they have sectioned off for snorkeling, which is something I definitely want to do next time. Um, I also want to bike and go over the lookout, but this for us, this was meant to be like a relaxing trip.
It
We
sounds like
didn't
it was.
have a lot of plans to do a lot of stuff. We didn't do any of the shore excursions in the Bahamas because we just wanted to chill and enjoy being with each other and enjoy being on board this ship that just has so much to do on it. We did a number of game shows. I said we did some trivia. We did get off in Nassau and do a little bit of shopping. The port area there, it's interesting. A lot of cigars.
Yep.
Um,
I don't get off at NASA anymore. Like,
yeah,
if we do, we just go to what's called the straw market, which is that
right.
very first part, and
We
that's
did.
it.
We went through the straw market. We went outside the straw market and went into some of the shops. And I was looking forward to doing some haggling because you haggle
You're the
there.
opposite of me. That is my worst nightmare. Just tell me
And
what it costs, and
and
that's
we're there, and this woman, like, we're getting some shirts for Donna's kids, and this woman is saying, "Oh well, $12 a shirt," and I'm like, "Well, we could go back there. We like the other one." And Donna was like, "Eric, I'm just buying the shirt."
yeah. See,
Like,
that's me.
all right, let's have
12 bucks. Good deal.
fun there.
Yeah.
Um, we walked around. We did talk to two people who went on excursions at our table. And one group did a Disney excursion that was like a cultural tour, and they were very excited that they saw Rihanna's house. That is on the cultural tour.
Nice.
And the other one did an excursion that was not a Disney one. And based on their experience, I would say stick with the things that are Disney. They got something that they'd seen on Instagram where you go to this secluded beach and like they're quote unquote wild pigs that are supposed to come and eat from your hand. It was not the experience that they expected. It was like a pen, and you were put in this area and the pigs ran into the water, and the pigs were doing what pigs would do in the water, and you're supposed to hand them the food, and then they blow a whistle and the pigs all run back into the woods. And she's like, they were trained pigs, and they're going through Nassau in this bus with a like 42-inch TV covering the front window so that the driver was having to move his head over to the side as he drives because the TV was in the driver's way. And I thought to myself, man, like stick to the tours from the boat. they might be a little more expensive, but you are going to get something that is, decent quality.
That's
If you're
true.
not doing the boat, it's potluck.
Yeah, that's very much true. You know what you're getting with Disney, and otherwise you're rolling the dice big
Yep.
time. So I mean, yeah, totally. It's up to your what you're expecting. All
Yeah.
right, go ahead. Go ahead.
The couple was from Kentucky, and I said, "Well, you could have done this at any pig farm in Kentucky." And they're like, "Yep, yep, we could have."
I mean, yeah, maybe, who knows? It probably wouldn't got that cool ride in the car with the 42-inch TV. I mean, down there, who knows? And my grandparents are from Kentucky. Kentucky strong. But here we go. So, okay, so we got to wrap this, but you got to see, you got to kind of basically have a good sampling. You got to do game shows. You got to go to the adult area.
Yeah.
You got to see the rotational dining. But you left a lot of meat on the bone for if you guys go back, which it sounds like you will. You're
Oh,
probably
we are going back. We're already planning. We've come to this idea that we're going to be on a, unless there's a really good deal, we're going to be kind of on an every other year plan.
That's a good plan.
Like next year, we're going to be going in February to Disney World, and then the year after, we're going to do the cruise, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. I would love to try a land and sea.
Mm-hmm.
Do the parks for 4 days and then do a cruise for 4 days. I'd like to go to a few other ports and do some tours this time. It was really a great experience.
Something real as we wrap up here, though, you had that inside stateroom. I'll tell you what, just personally, my favorite thing about it inside, which we haven't done one in a little bit because my wife likes the veranda, which happy wife, happy life. And I'll do a veranda every time too, since she wants one. But the best I've ever slept is in an inside stateroom because it is darker than dark in that thing.
Oh,
You
it was
don't know if
pitch
it's
black.
midnight or noon. There's no windows. You got the virtual porthole in the large.
There was this little crack above the door, and other than that,
Oh my god!
it was pitch black. And she chose the indoor stateroom because she says, if it's your first time, it's much more stable. If it's rocking, the sides are rocking more than the middle. And I didn't feel a thing. If there was any rocking, it was rocking me to sleep. Um, it was beautiful. I
All right.
really loved 9101. Take a look at it. It's just a slightly different size configuration, and I thought it was perfect.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for taking us out to see Eric, and I hope you feel a little better with that cough, and that the kids are good for the sub tomorrow.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not at my best right now.
No, we got you, and I
I'm-
appreciate you hanging in there.
I
with us
am I
today.
am fighting this thing pretty hard right now, and as soon as we are done, I am uploading my plans, and I am going to go lie down.
That's what you need to do, Eric. You stay safe and have a great rest of the school year. Thanks for being out there with the kids. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Don't forget today's show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. Just check out all the details over at themagicforless.com. Our services are absolutely free to you, and you're going to get concierge level service each and every time. Again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible. We could not do this without you. Just $5 a month supports our show. It helps us do all the hosting for our video feeds, for our archives, for our web hosting, for the audio shows, all this stuff. And our patrons get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this week, we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Now, the place you want to be 24/7, where the conversation goes on all the time. We talk Disney, we talk Disneyland, Walt Disney World. We have a ton of international fans over here in the clubhouse. It's the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. You can get there at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. We talk about just life. This afternoon, we were talking about these new shakes that have just come out at a restaurant around me, whether I should get the Cinnamon Toast Crunch shake, the Reese's Puffs shake, or the Fruity Pebbles shake. We also just made a channel for travel hacks and discounts. We're talking Disney gift card hacks. We're talking about using these. We don't have these stores here in St. Louis. Meyer cards. I think they're up in Michigan, grocery chain or gas chain where you can save a lot of money and get some credit for your vacations. We're helping each other save money on vacations. We're talking sports in there. So come on over. It's a great community of our listeners. So again, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. We'd love to see you over there this week. And of course, Sunday night we'll have the live show with Scotty G taking your calls from 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. So give us a call then. All right, time to get out of here. We'll see you again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. Check me out on the socials at BRGuestMike, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. So for Eric out in Connecticut, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Save that real quick. Hang on. Save it before I lose it. 2482. Save MP3. Oh, hang on. Five, 2482. Hang on. Why is that? I must have misnumbered something. Thanks for doing that. I appreciate it, bud. And I know you don't feel
No
good.
problem. I'm sorry I wasn't at my best.
It was good. It was good. I'll edit it up and I'll try to chop out those coughs where I can, so it won't be a big deal.
So I'm just noticing now it's been slowly getting darker and darker. I didn't have a light on in here. So like
That's all right.
I look it's like pitch black on the screen.
That's okay.
All right.
We don't use the video much, so it's good.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you. I'm going to edit this thing up and get ready for Monday.
Take care.
Take care, Eric. Bye.